Hi, I'm Bec and I'm a property investor.
And I'm Darya. I own my own home and I'm curious about investing.
We're the hosts of Investors in the Wild.
We've heard it all before. Build your wealth, get expert advice, learn about high yield, high growth investments, blah, blah, blah.
That's just not us. We're real mates with real talk about real estate. No ego, no financial advice.
It's all about wins you can use right now.
Let's get into it.
You mentioned a psychological thing. Can we talk about this?
I was going to say, so she really outlined it really well in terms of the pressure that's put on you. Obviously, I'm not saying that agents are scammers, but it's very, very interesting the dynamic that applies in a high pressure environment where you're putting big dollars down in real estate. When Bec was talking, all these like bombs were blowing, and I was just like, boom, yeah, that's exactly what happens in cybersecurity. Like, so basically what happens in cybersecurity when you're dealing with a scam, say an email, for example, and so the four things that they'll come up with. So one is that the person comes from a position of authority. So the message is claiming to come from an expert in the field or someone who is, responsible for something, and you are accountable to them in some way. Two, very importantly, is a sense of urgency. So basically, you're told you have a limited time to act, and if you don't act now, you will miss out. Three is emotion. So they are masters of emotion. And does the message that they give you make you panic, make you think that, that fearful, make you hopeful, make you basically
Feel something.
Yeah. Do you feel something? And then last but not least, it's really around scarcity. So basically, is the message offering you something that's too good to be true? Are they claiming that in Bec's example that you've got one buyer who's gone up a little bit in the price, and if you don't act now, you're going to miss out on that one buyer. So act now.
The investor that popped up, and then
that's what I meant.
And then all of a sudden, investor's gone.
Yeah,
like investor was there for 2 seconds. Now he's gone.
Now he's gone. And so this is, and there's many more, like in emails, it's like, is the URL different or grammatical errors, but these four that came up resonate so seamlessly with a lot of the examples. So even KJ, in a lot of her conversation, she felt the pressure, she felt the pitch, she felt the scarcity, she felt all of the things. And so I do think that it's really important that you go in armed with that knowledge. And so I think if we're looking at psychological warfare at a high level, you go in armed with that knowledge that your emotions are going to be a factor. So I think the tips that I took away is you stop, you pause, and then you deliberate. So you go and you interact and engage with your associate / partner in crime. You for me, Bec, you for me. And then you decide. The other one.
Can I just check though? Yeah. So with the position of authority, so I like this. I find this interesting, right? That these tools are used both by scammers and in the property industry. It's like, are you going to use your powers for good or for evil?
Well, I mean, like at the end of the day, scamming is a business. Like there are call centers where this is literally a high money earning business. So they are doing something that's effective. It's very effective. They're making millions every year in scamming, and it's a very, very lucrative business. And so you can use it for you can use it for good. And I think we can turn the table as well and use some of those same tips that scammers use back at them. And it can be something that we all leverage in a way that is healthy and beneficial for both parties. But what I think is really important is that we all come at a level playing field to a certain extent, because most of us who are green in this space, we're not on a level playing field. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the psychological preparation. We don't have the experience. We basically think what they say is true and we've just got to act. So I think at least if you're learning these things and you're applying these things, you're at a more level playing field. And it's not to say it's always going to be used for evil, like scarcity. You could give them scarcity back. It's like, I've got this one property and, you're about to lose it.
Yeah.
So
I do think so. Around level playing field, if I understand this right, this kind of relates to that first point around someone being in a position of power.
yeah,
And so it feels like, this is a tool that's used, someone being in a position of power, and the way that you kind of, it's like being on a seesaw.
yeah,
This person's got a lot of power, so they've got a lot of weight. So how do you add extra power? So
yes,
I feel like tools to add extra power and to kind of, as you said, level the playing field. It's like, number one, equip yourself, and we'll do the checklist so that
yeah,
people know, like, here's what's normal, here's what you can negotiate. Here are some ideas. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially after listening to Bec, but I feel like there are a few things to establish your sense of authority and level the playing field. Number one, understand the process, equip yourself with the checklist. Number two, do your own research the way that Bec did. Look at who are the best agents, look at what people are saying on Reddit. Number three, I think having that other partner rather than it being just you selling on your own,
yeah.
like, I think that sets a position of authority as well. Like, there are two of us.
Yeah, 100%. And just to take a step back in the research, I think also researching the market rates and what
Yes.
your house is worth as well. That's a big one. And I think because I think one of the things we covered off, which was really interesting with Bec, was you're going to be talked down, and that's part of the psychological warfare preparation. That eventually when you're about to, when the dotted line is going to get signed, you're probably going to be talked down, right? So you've got to come in there with a relatively confident approach on what your property's worth. And then one other point to add is to know your power. So you're going to, and I think this is something else that we probably should highlight, Bec, in our how-to guide, is the power play that the agent has, but also the power play that you as the agent's customer has, or the seller has. And Bec covered it off beautifully. It's really, you can walk away at any time. You can pull the trigger and you can take your business elsewhere and not sell. Your power is not to sell. And that outnumbers a lot of the power that the agent will have.
So
So
long as you're not shopping when you're hungry, so
do
long as
not
you're not
shop where
selling
you're
when you're
hungry. I loved that. It's so spot on. Yeah,
Mm.
because as we said, through our interviewees, Faz got the best deals from people who were
Yes.
selling when they were hungry,
Yeah.
or like selling when they were desperate,
Yeah.
basically, So
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really eye-opening moment. There are people that prey on desperation, agents, investors, buyers, they all prey on desperation. So just don't get yourself in a position where you're desperate. It's very similar to
100%.
dating, isn't it? Like,
Oh, yeah.
desperation, it's just such a repellent. It's like, desperation just doesn't work well for you in life in general.
Desperation is how you end up with a dud. And then the other part is also the opposite end, which is the lack of urgency as well, which makes you in a limbo. So you've got to have this perfect level of like, you're slightly hungry, but you're not starving. And actually, it's exactly the same, right? Because you could say the same thing, and like, if you're not happy, you'll walk away very easily, and that's not good either. So you need the right level of hunger. Needs to be like appealing, but you're not starving. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. All right. So things to level the playing field, the checklist, the research, understanding the market, having a partner in crime. What about urgency? Like, can you do anything to rebalance what you're talking about with urgency? You've got to move now and blah, 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 or you're going to miss out. You said a second ago, stop, pause, deliberate.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
My God, I sound like MC Hammer. Deliberate and listen. So, so I think that, yes, I think that's a beautiful move. And I think this is where it's interesting, because in psychology, they say that when you are feeling a certain way, you're not meant to define yourself as the feeling. So you're meant to look at yourself as like an observer of the feeling. So part of that is verbalizing what you are feeling. And I think the same applies here. So when you're given a sense of urgency, you start to feel, but you stop, deliberate. I think talking to your associate partner in crime helps, but also looking at it like, this is very normal. I'm feeling anxious because there's a lot weighing on it, but this isn't like, so basically being logical about the feeling rather than immersing yourself in that feeling. So it's really just stopping to think. And that's what the pausing is. It's stopping to think about it. And I'm not saying don't act when there's an opportunity, but there's never an opportunity when you need to put hundreds of thousands, like, or $1 million plus down, sign the dotted line and make such a big decision in an instant. So I think Bec's episode taught us that, because she did stop, she did go and talk to her associate, and she did come back and say, no, we're not happy. We actually want to get to the 2.1 million. We're not happy with anything else. So like, go back. Otherwise we'll pull our business. And she did it in a much nicer fashion than that. But I think that really helped her. She was level-headed about it. So as excitable Darya, I need to be level. I need to pause. And as human beings, when we pause and take a breath, 90% of the world's problems get solved just by stopping and taking a breath, honestly.
Yeah.
So just stop and take a breath, people. It's not that deep.
We'll put that item number 1 on the checklist. Chill.
Just chill out.
Just chill. What was I going to say a second ago? The problem that I have, and I think you have this as well, is I feel like I absorb other people's emotions, and I find it really difficult to buffer myself. So when I'm in an environment where an agent is being particularly pressured or pushy, or a buyer's agent, whatever it is, I'm just like, I just want to get through this and get it over and done with. I don't think to myself, actually, let's just sit in discomfort, and let's just take the temperature down, take the pressure down.
I think knowing that about yourself is the first step, though. Like, I think knowing that you are like that, it's like, okay, so it's even maybe worth writing it down. How is it going to feel, and how do you normally respond in such a situation? And then to remind yourself when you're in the thick of it all, because I think knowing that is really important. And I think once you know that and you verbalize that you know that about yourself, i.e. I take on other people's emotions, when people are having emotions, it's easier to remind yourself that that's how you are, and then not to do that.
Yeah.
And again, we're all human beings. I'm not saying that one drop of it's not going to enter our psyche, but I'm saying if you are aware of it, at least that takes away a lot of the pain and that comes with that process. It's got to be, interestingly, it's got to be business for you as well. It's a very personal thing. It's business for them, but for you, it's personal. But you have to almost transition it into business for you. It's business for you and it's business for them, and go into it like you would a corporate meeting. Like, you're not going to sit down and cry over $10,000 when you're having a corporate discussion, right? Like, you're going to be very hardball. You're going to be confident. Like, when I'm negotiating in the corporate world, I'm so confident about my perspective. And so when someone's trying to bring me down, like, so for example, like, they're trying to, like, we need to invest in something, or we need to invest in X, or Y is not going to happen. Like, I actually had this come up this week, and there was like a lot of pressure. It was, if you don't, like, okay, and it was a lot of money with no evidence that anything is going to come from it. And nothing has come of it in the past, and they're saying you need to invest more money so more can come of it in the future. And then it was like, no, like, where is the evidence? What are you going to put on the table so that we can then, like, what is the evidence that this is going to deliver this? And what are you putting on the table to make sure that it is delivering the right outcomes before we then add to it? And so that was the negotiation that was had. And I was so cool, calm, and collected about that conversation. We ended up pausing on this, which was a very exciting initiative that I would have loved to invest in, but it just didn't prove that it was going to generate the right results for the business. And I walked out of there and I didn't think about it twice. If it was my home, it would be a different story, right? I would be animated. I would be probably inspired to make a move that I'm not necessarily hugely comfortable with. My negotiation position would be different because I don't walk in with that business confidence. So I think It's just another aha moment that's just struck me while talking to you now, Bec. I think looking at it as a business is probably a valuable exercise. Negotiators sitting down and having a level conversation. And that's what this is designed to do. It's to put you on an even keel with who you're negotiating with. And I think the tips from that episode are glorious. I think I've listened to it 3 times already. I'll listen to it again after my European trip just before selling this house. I'm going to listen to it again. And yeah, I think we'll have prepared the document. We'll share it with our listeners because it's so valuable.
Yeah, to echo some of the points we've made in previous episodes, going in really clear on the intent. So,
Yeah.
You've done your research. This is how much I believe the place is worth.
Yes.
This is what, the interest rates are at the moment, what the interest is in my area. And I think that, the reason why you can be confident of this in a business context is you're in it every day. You're sure of the quality of your work. You're sure of what you're able to give and get.
Yeah.
And so you just need to put yourself in a position where you have that same level of confidence in the property conversations. And you've got, you've worked out, you've leveled the playing field. You guys, it's not an agent that knows more and an investor that knows more. You
It's
are
level.
an expert.
Yeah.
Did we listen to the KJ piece?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play it on my laptop sound. So it's going to be a bit scrappy, but give me a sec.
No worries. I'm very intrigued by this feedback.
It's very different to what I was expecting.
Oh, really?
I listened to you 3 lovely ladies while I washed my face. So I did a very extended face wash today. It was delightful. So this was the second time I'd listened to it, and I thought it was really good this time around. Because you remember the first time I said it was a little cynical. There was that feeling of hopelessness. I think you've countered that really nicely by having all the practical kind of takeaways, and it just felt really practical this time around, actionable. I'm not even doing a feedback sandwich. The only thing that I don't like about it, and this is a me thing, so I don't think this is going to apply to everyone else. There's a lot of talk about, chess and game and I can't remember what Daria was calling it. Like, being a warrior and having to be really protective, and that makes me walk away feeling scared because I'm actually not good at negotiating. I'm not good at standing my ground. Bec, your friend Bec, sounds like she's got some fucking balls. Just even the way she delivers through the whole thing, I don't have that kind of assertiveness. So my takeaway from that is like, if this happened to me, I don't think I would have walked away with as great an outcome as she did, because she did manage to turn around and end up getting over 2 mil, which, by the way, whoa, it's just crazy. It's a confidence thing for me. But to me, what I loved about it is how Bec has done her research and she has really good intuition. There were 2 kind of themes that stuck out to me, which are kind of intertwined. And one is about sticking to your guns, following through, holding people accountable, and, not being afraid to have the tough conversations. And then the other part is trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. Oh, also a scarcity mindset. That's probably what resonated with me the most, because I think having a scarcity mindset has led to me having really poor decisions when it comes to anything in life, anything to do with money that I have fucked up. It's because I've made that decision going, oh, this is the only option I have, when it isn't. And it's irrational. It's quite irrational thinking. And it's what I'm most afraid of for buying my next house. Is I've actually written like a list of guiding principles for myself to be like, do not jump the first thing you see because you're worried about missing out. It kind of depends how personal you want to get with it. But for me, the sticking to your guns, trusting your gut, following through, being accountable. I mean, Bec really held this person accountable. I don't know if I would have the courage to do the same. And I wonder if there is just an inherent thing about it, doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, but about not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to, even maybe in part being a female and being taught to be nice, because I do find that I struggle to have tough conversations because I like, oh, what if this person, it's not that I don't care if they don't like me, it's just that I don't want to be perceived as being difficult.
I see her like that at all. She does. I feel like if anyone doesn't mind being perceived as difficult, it's Kate. I'm so surprised that she innately is like that. It's interesting the armor we wear when we, because I'm learning this about her. I didn't know she feels that way because of all the female friends I have, she's quite strong in that way. Like she's probably one of the strongest that I like, well, you know, excluding the Iranians in my life. She's like very strong in her disposition. So to know that innately she lacks that sort of that, like that she has those thoughts are very interesting to me.
Yeah. So how she was like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't know.
I feel like she's the biggest boat rocker I've ever met in the conversations we have. She throws in something, or if someone says something, she will hold them to account. Hamilton, she was the only one at the table to be like, don't say that. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, okay. So really interesting. So it's so interesting, this fear stuff, because in working in cybersecurity, we have the same conversations all the time. It's like, is the language you're using creating fear in the minds of listeners? And it's actually really good feedback, because from my perspective, I feel like I'm like Teflon, and I'm like, my boat's not easily rocked, but then, if you use certain language with certain people, it creates a bit of anxiousness. So that's interesting. And so psychological chess, I think that conversation, it's very important to have. So if I'm thinking about it as a green investor, right?
Yeah.
That fear is what's stopping me, the fear of the unknown. Yeah. So it's what's stopping me. But then to be listening to other people doing it and then getting their tips and tricks to then apply to my life, it actually takes away my fear. It doesn't create more fear.
What I found really interesting is KJ has sold Neutral Bay, Lane Cove, Carilla. She sold 3 places, and she's still saying, I felt hopeless, scared, and I didn't have the confidence. I listened to that and I was like, this is why we need to have these conversations,
Yeah.
level the playing field. Because if you've got someone, who's sold 3 properties to all outer perceptions, she's a very assertive person.
Yeah.
And if she's thinking, I don't know if I can have the courage to have these conversations, literally using words like helplessness, scared, and I don't have courage, then
100%.
you've got to set yourself up and have and figure out how to level that playing field.
Exactly.
Like, let's just do a quick comparison here, right? We've got Rebecca, who was selling her first property. We've got KJ, who has sold 3 properties now. And you've got KJ saying, I don't think I have the courage to do what Rebecca did. But KJ has a lot more experience.
It's what I said earlier, Bec. It's 70% of it is psychological. This is what this is why I'm so excited about this episode. It's like, it really touched on the dormant underlying problem that puts us as non-real estate agents in the position of where they're the powerful ones and we're not the powerful ones. It's psychological, because I'll tell you right now, KJ is one of the most confident people I know, holds people to account in her life on a daily basis. I've seen it. She holds people to account more often than anyone in my life. I promise you that. Like, she will verbalize what she's thinking, what she's feeling, unapologetically and inspiringly. I love it. I love watching it. I get really, not only do I get entertained, but I look at it in awe. It's like, wow, like, you have the balls to put something controversial on the table and to talk about it. She does that. So I think in thinking and in saying that, she's actually showing us the inner workings of what we're all feeling. We're all feeling this. Like, she's sold 3 properties. I haven't sold any. We're all feeling this way. But I think if you know that, it changes everything. And I think learning from Rebecca's way of managing it, I'm not saying we're all going to go in and do exactly what she did all the time, but there are definitely parts of it where I think it goes back to when I said, look at it as a business. I think if KJ did look at it as she looks at everything else in her life where she does apply that confidence and hold people to account, then it would be different. But it's emotional. This property embarking journey is very emotional and personal. So it changes everything psychologically.
I also wonder if there's an element of like, I think we need to almost come up with like, we said a checklist, but it's like a recipe. Like, here are the ingredients you need to set yourself up to level the playing field.
Yeah.
You know, research, you know, have your partner in crime. KJ hasn't had the partner in crime. So I think there are like different ingredients you need to feed yourself.
Yes.
To feel more confident going into those conversations.
Yes.
And I wonder if like I really want to talk to KJ about this and be
that is a really good point. She has not had a partner in crime. She has done it beautifully by herself. She's done such an amazing job. But imagine, I just think if she did follow the recipe, it would elevate her position so significantly that it could really change it could take her to the next level.
And she did start following some of that. Like she said with the Adelaide purchase, she did more like stop, deliberate and listen when, you know, when she was saying, I'm going to go away and think about that. So I do think there are some pieces there, but that's why we need to have this conversation to be like, go in with this intent. Here are the steps to follow, and just be aware when these things are happening.
100%.
Hello, it's Bec. If you thought this episode was valuable, please help others to find it by finding us on Spotify, dropping a rating or review, or just sharing it with a friend who would find these stories relatable and insightful. And if you're an investor with insights to share, hit us up on Instagram at investorsinthewild or email investorsinthewild@gmail.com. After all, we're all mates helping each other. And if you're a hopeful investor, we would love to hear from you. Reach out with feedback, questions, or topic ideas. It would be great to hear what you want to see behind the investing curtain. Talk soon.